Good afternoon. Welcome to the Indie Boomer Show. I'm Mary Pat McKee, the publisher of Indie Boomer Magazine, and with me today is Marti Lindell, who is one of our writers, currently writing about reversed roles. Want to start off, always need to start off thanking Jim. Appreciate Jim Walford from the Logan Street and Signs and Banners for the opportunity to have this show. If you happen, hope you do, pick up the May issue of Indie Boomer, you will find the list of the classic movie events that's going to be at Forest Park that Jim is involved with, and Hamilton County TV is also in this issue of May's Indie Boomer. Marti started with us actually Marti was on the cover of our second Indie Boomer magazine back in, gosh, that would have been like June of 2011. And from that point forward, Marti and I became friends, and she has been writing for us ever since.
And I love it. I love writing for the Boomer.
Well, and you do a great job.
Thanks.
For a long time, for at least a couple years, it was the Do You Remember column.
All right. It was more nostalgia, helping everybody remember things from their childhood, growing up, and things that we still find around today that can be repurposed from those years early on that our parents used to have. Things that they used to have, we remember.
Right.
And now we've repurposed a lot of those things that make them useful today.
Right. And then a lot of things that we don't have today.
That's true.
Exactly.
That's true. A lot of things we no longer have that we have to remember.
Well, I think, Marti, the reason we kind of transitioned from the Do You Remember is because we couldn't remember anymore. No, I'm just kidding. But no, the reason we...
Between the two of us, we couldn't remember what to write about.
But no, I think it fits the reversed roles writing makes more sense because of what you do, and maybe you can give us an idea of your background and
right.
all that.
Well, I started with Meals on Wheels of Hamilton County, working more with seniors and issues that surround around hunger.
Right.
And that really gave me an awareness of many of the senior issues, especially when I would take a meal into an elderly person and I would be in the home and I could look around and see what their living conditions were like and how they were surviving day to day and how important that meal was to them every day. So from that, I decided that I wanted to continue working in the senior market after I left Meals on Wheels, and I started my own business called Senior Connections.
Right.
And as an advocate for seniors who are trying to stay in their own home as long as possible, it's very important that they find the services that they need that will allow them to stay in their own home.
Exactly.
So I really got more acquainted with the issues that they're facing. The elderly people, when they want to stay at home, they're not ready to move out, but they need some help, and their adult children are the ones who are most often contacting me to find the services that they need so mom or dad can stay living independently in their own home.
Right. Well, and don't you agree, I occasionally get to drive for Meals on Wheels. I think one of the big things that's kind of downplayed with Meals on Wheels is how important it is for that human contact every day.
Absolutely.
And sometimes the kids, I know, and you know who I'm talking about, I can't remember, is Bernie, how he really didn't need the food, but he just every day they liked somebody checking on him, make sure he was doing okay. And
Right. It's really a dual purpose function for Meals on Wheels. Not only are they solving that issue of hunger, but isolation is a key issue in the elderly being able to stay in their own home. If they're too isolated and there aren't enough people coming in to check on them, their health can decline very rapidly.
Sure.
So having a friendly visitor from Meals on Wheels, somebody bringing them lunch every day and just checking on them to see how they're doing is very important to their mental health as well as to the physical health.
Right, as well. And you know, the other thing too about Meals on Wheels that maybe people don't know, it's not just one meal, it's 2 meals.
It can be 2 meals if they need 2 meals.
Okay. You know more about it than I do, but I know that a lot of people, we were always taking a cold meal and a hot meal too as well.
It just depends on their needs. Sometimes they have someone who can make that evening meal for them, but we can deliver. Meals on Wheels could deliver 2 meals if they needed it.
Okay. Well, tell us a little bit more about Senior Connections and how you, with Senior Connections, can help either a baby boomer or their parents. Or
Right. Well, generally, It might be an adult child that would call me and say, we're trying to determine whether or not it's safe for mom or dad to stay in their own apartment or in their own home. That would be their wish. The elderly person always wants to stay at home as long as possible.
Right.
But they can't do some of the things around the house that they used to be able to do.
Right.
Maybe they can't do yard work anymore, or maybe they have trouble going up and down stairs and the laundry room is down in the basement, or maybe they can't stand long enough to make a meal for themselves anymore. So those are the kinds of services that I can find. I have a network of providers that I've developed through all of my contacts, and these are people who provide the kind of service that elderly people need.
Right.
And they're people who are trustworthy, they have a heart for working with seniors, and they provide a good, reasonable, fair price for the service that they can offer. So I connect that provider with the senior, the elderly, or the family that needs the service. And once I've made that connection, then I kind of step away until the service is performed, and then I follow up with the client, the senior client, to make sure that the service was what they were looking for, that it was provided at a good, reasonable price, the quality of the work was good, and that they might, if they were satisfied with the service, they might refer that provider to their friends and family.
Well, and that's a big part, especially for baby boomers trying to take care of their parents, just knowing that those things are in place.
Right.
Do you find, do you find that the baby boomer versus the parent have two different goals in mind? Sometimes.
They do. The elderly clients, the seniors themselves, really want to remain independent as long as possible.
Sure.
And it's very important that we preserve their dignity and allow them to be independent if they're physically able and mentally able. The adult children, their goal is, of course, they want to make sure that mom and dad are taken care of, that they don't have any safety or security issues, that it's okay for them to stay in the home.
Right.
But the role is kind of reversed now, because where the parents used to take care of the children all the time, now it's the adult children who are figuring out that they need to take care of mom and dad.
Right.
So it's really become a role reversal in that now it's the adult children that are looking to alleviate the stress, that are looking to help with finances, that are looking to help with things around the house. You'll find that the adult children are the ones and the grandchildren that are coming over to mow the grass and, do all the trimming around the shrubs and taking care of the exterior of the home.
Right.
And it might be that the family is taking turns among the siblings to come in and prepare meals and make sure that they are fed, they have everything they need, check on their medications, things of that nature.
Right.
So the adult children are taking a more proactive role.
Do you run into folks that are out of town that are trying to take care of their parents from, let's say, Florida or somewhere else besides
Absolutely.
here?
I get calls from children who've moved away, and they still need someone to go in and check on their parents occasionally.
Right.
And so I can set up a connection where there will be someone that goes in, a friendly visitor, could be somebody from Prime Life Enrichment, a friendly visitor program that goes in, or from Shepherd Center of Hamilton County.
Right.
They might have a friendly visitor go in and check on them once a week. Or if they need things done around the house, we can get that done as well.
Okay, well, very good. We're going to take a short little break, and then we'll come back and talk about some other I can't even speak, reversed roles scenarios, and we'll go from there.
Okay,
so appreciate
great.
it. Be back in a little bit. Thanks.
Everyone knows it's easy to find first-run movies in the big theaters. But where can you go to watch your favorite classic movies on the big screen for the perfect night out? Why rent a flick when you can rent the entire theater? Call today to reserve our 32-seat theater for your next event, or just stop by to see what's showing this weekend. The 14 by 7 foot screen and the high quality digital surround sound system offers all the amenities you would expect from the big theaters, with a laid back atmosphere and comfortable seating of your own home. Wofford Theater at 1744 South 10th Street in Noblesville gives you the classic movies you want with a big theater experience.
Welcome back. I am Mary Pat McKee with Indie Boomer Magazine, back here with Marti Lindell, who is one of our writers of the reversed roles topics that we cover in the magazine quite a bit. Just to kick off this session, I wanted to talk real quickly about something that we have in the May issue of Indie Boomer, and that is the Give Hope Ride that is benefiting St. Jude's Hospital. A friend of mine is the gentleman that organizes and sets it up. It's out at Heritage Park, which is at 106th and Eller, out there where the Ambassador House is. Mm-hmm. And they've done it for the last few years. And anyway, I wanted to give it a plug so everybody could know. The other thing is we've got event pages in the Boomer. Would love, if you're looking for things to do this summer as far as summer concerts, we've got Fisher's and we've got some in Carmel, we've got Noblesville, bus trips, the Carmel Fest, which is coming up. Gosh, before you know it, July will be here. July 4th will be here.
I want to give you some positive feedback from a friend of mine, too, that read the magazine just recently. Mm-hmm. Noticed that you've started putting these event pages in. They said, oh, she hadn't done that before. That's really a great addition.
Oh, well, good.
So, you know, it's good that people can look to that as a resource and see what's going on in the county.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I got to tell you, I was very excited. I dropped these off to a couple of our advertisers, both from our Money Matters, Wes Young and Matt Albine, and they had received a customer that came in with the Indie Boomer magazine and became a client, and very excited about that. So
good.
It's all very good. We've got a lot of different articles in this issue about bountiful backyard gardens, Boomer home choices, that type of thing. But let's go back to why you're here today.
Okay.
And you're here to talk about reversed roles, and there's some different scenarios that we can talk about.
There are, and actually when we think about reversed roles, it can be very subtle. People don't realize sometimes how they have reversed their roles from being the child to now being the adult child, looking after the aging parents. And a typical example would be, just recently saw a commercial on TV about an elderly couple who took their adult son and his wife out to dinner. And when the check came, the son picked up the check before the father had a chance to reach for it. And in the father's mind, the dialogue was, oh, I guess we've reached that age. And in the son's mind, his dialogue was, Dad's retired now, and he doesn't have the amount of money that we used to have. So he wanted to pick up the check.
Right.
And that's a subtle way that adult children can show their parents, maybe it's time now for us to take care of you. You took care of us all of those years. You always picked up the check. And now that you're retired and living on a fixed income, it's time for us to step up and do our share.
I think we should make that mandatory of all.
I'm with you there.
All of our children need to be picking up the checks.
Yeah.
Well, because you mentioned another one about, well, your kids are all over the country.
Yeah,
so.
I have a personal experience with my children. I have 3 sons who are all in the Air Force, and they're all over the country.
Right.
And, you know, being a widow, living alone, it's harder now for me to just pick up and take a trip because I'm still working.
Right.
And that expense of airplane tickets is pretty high for
Yes.
somebody that's doesn't have that extra income.
Mm-hmm.
So when my children want me to come and visit now, they will send me an airplane ticket, which is really nice for Mother's Day or for my birthday or for Christmas, you know, something of that nature. It's always nice to have the kids send a ticket for me to come and visit.
Right.
And I never feel guilty about that, because there were plenty of times when I had to sacrifice for them.
Sure.
And so now they feel that it's only fair that they show me how much they appreciate my visits.
Well, you obviously raised them right, because I mean,
I hope so.
I hope that the kids, I mean, my kids get to see me with my parents, and the responsibility that I take very seriously in taking care of them, and I'm just hoping that it rubs off on them, and they'll say, okay, now Mom, it's Mom's turn, and we'll take care of her.
I kind of told my boys when they were younger that they were going to be my retirement plan. That when I finally quit working, I was going to come and spend 4 months out of the year with each one of them.
Yes.
And I don't think they want that to happen, so they're happy to send me a plane ticket.
Okay, yeah. One both ways, right?
That's right.
Not a
That's
one-way
right.
ticket.
Right.
You know, in this issue, you were talking about, you wrote about trust and respect.
Yes.
Do you want to talk a little about the article?
You know, those are two very important values
Yes.
that we need to teach our children when they're young, so that they can teach those values to their children as well.
Mm-hmm.
And when we're talking about aging parents and being respected by their adult children, sometimes we as adult children, we're so proactive, we think we know what's best for our parents without really consulting them.
Yes.
And that can create some problems. It can create trust problems, as well as aging parents feeling disrespected. And so I think it's really important when we're passing those values along to our children, that we remember that when we become adults, when we become parents, that our parents still deserve the same respect that we would expect from anyone else. And we have to think about, we put ourselves in their shoes, and how would I feel if someone talked to my parents like they were a child?
Right.
It would really rub me the wrong way.
Right.
And so we want to remember to pay respect to our aging parents, so that they can continue to trust our judgment and our decisions when those decisions have to be made with or without them.
Right. Right.
So I think the trust and respect, it continues. It doesn't stop just because a parent is aging and can no longer make good decisions. It has to continue until the very end.
Well, I think that you really have to put yourself in their situation. I know with my mother, it was very difficult going from a rather large home to a very small assisted living situation. And I mean, she just says, you just don't know, it took them all these years to acquire all the things that they have, and now a lot of them are gone.
Right.
It really, I don't know, if I've learned anything, it's a cycle of life and what it all really comes back around to.
It is a cycle of life, but I think when we can treat our parents with the respect that they deserve,
Yes.
and we help them to see that we're helping them make decisions in their best interest, we're not trying to punish them, or we're not trying to hurt them, then they will continue to trust the decisions that we make.
Right, I agree. Well, and it's it's interesting because my folks are in a retirement community, and so many times I go, and there's some people that nobody ever goes and visits them, or I've never seen anybody go and visit them.
And that's sad, isn't it?
It is very sad.
To find that their families have just sort of forgotten about them and only come to visit maybe once a week or once a month.
Yeah.
They need that socialization, and they need to know that their children still care about them.
Right, I
That
agree.
they haven't just shoved them off into an assisted living place and forgotten
There you
about
go.
them.
That's exactly right, because you can't.
Nope.
That's not what that assisted living place is for.
That's right.
Or the the retirement communities of
Right,
any kind.
right.
Hey, before we go, we're going to wrap it up here. Wanted to once again thank Jim for allowing us to do this show. We really are very appreciative of it. I think Marty, we got enough information. We could do this again sometime.
We could do it again. We can do a different topic. But
Yes, exactly.
when it comes to role reversals, there are a lot of examples.
Oh yeah, I think so as well. Hey, want to thank everybody for tuning in today. Appreciate it, and we will see you June 4th will be our next show. Couple
Super.
weeks. Take care.
All right.
Bye-bye.